Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Panther Pourri, a Florida Hockey Now podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Langsam. Here with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Alex Lopez and TJ Peterson. And joining us tonight to celebrate the Florida Panthers' third consecutive trip to the Stanley Cup Final, from ESPN, the one and only Arda Öcal. Arda, how you doing today?
Well, great to be back on the podcast. Great to see you guys. Great to be chatting it up again. If there was one guy to choose to celebrate the Panthers making the Cup Final again, it's the guy that drew the parade for Toronto against the Panthers on ESPN. So great choice, guys. Way to have me back. Thank you very much.
You know, I was questioning whether or not to bring it up, but if the joke's going to come to us, then we might as well run with it. One of the three.
You had Toronto in 7, right?
I did have Toronto in 7. Listen, I got caught up in the "it's their year" hoopla, and then the Panthers reminded us all that they just know how to win.
Yeah, I mean, you got the amount of games right, so I will give you you get half a point if we're doing high school math.
Exactly. And then the Leafs just put up like the worst Game 7 effort in the history of Game 7s, and then here we are, the Panthers once again. Third straight year, boys. That's now Tampa has nothing on you guys.
The Canes are like, you guys got the Game 7?
They do still have 2 cups on us, to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, in recent memory, you know. Hey, let me ask you guys a question. How does it feel to be repping the state of hockey in 2025?
I was just talking to my parents. My parents called me right after the final buzzer, basically, to talk about it. And what I said to them was, I can't believe I'm at a point where I'm like almost desensitized to the Panthers making it to the Stanley Cup Final. Like, I barely celebrated the final buzzer because, you know, I'm at a point where like this is what we expect as Panthers fans. We expect this degree of success. You know, I referred to making it to the conference final as avoiding the disappointment zone. Because getting eliminated any earlier than this would have been just an outright disappointment.
Had to give up that first-round pick to avoid being disappointed. Had to get rid
by
of it.
me. Brad Marchand celebrating winning the Eastern Conference in a Panthers jersey. Never thought I'd see the day. Never thought I'd see the day where I was happy about that. But here we are, back in the Stanley Cup Final with number 63.
Panthers legend
Florida.
Brad Marchand. The guy already has a tradition, by the way.
Yeah, it took 2 weeks.
It took 2 weeks. He got traded to the team. Hey guys, good to see you. And then all of a sudden he has a tradition. He commandeered the one thing that the Panthers were known for to many hockey fans. It's now his. He's been on the team for like a couple months.
Well, it's not his. He has just embraced it.
No, it's his now. It's Brad Marchand.
I thought you were talking about Dairy Queen. I didn't even realize you were talking about the Rats.
That's even better.
Yeah,
I love that he's like taking the team out for ice cream.
He created a new thing.
Yeah, he not only did he commandeer the Rats, now they're chucking them at him, waiting for him to finish interviews so he can like shield himself, and he gets slap-shotted by Rats. But he's making his own like, hey guys, let's have a team outing. Let's go get blizzards, and then let's eat them during the intermissions.
Yeah.
I got to imagine that local Dairy Queens are just loving Brad Marchand referencing them like twice. My Twitter feed before this game was full of people being like, gonna go to Dairy Queen before the game for good luck. Who wants in? Like, who wants a blizzard? We're all going to Dairy Queen before the game.
Yeah, I think I got to do one of those things before Game 3 during warm-ups with a sign, trade you a Dairy Queen gift card for a warm-up puck.
Oh,
honestly,
that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Just throw the blizzard over the boards. That'll work great.
I mean, if it's still frozen, it's stuck in there. We're kind of good to go.
True.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, like you said, like, oh, how does it feel? You know, just to remind everyone, the last time you joined us, you basically gave the Panthers the cup when they were up 3-0.
No, it was 2-0. It was 2-0.
No, it was 3-0.
No, it was 2-0.
Okay, it was 2-0, but you were basically talking like the cup was won, and
true.
You scared the living shit out of me.
Well, what happened?
It only ended up going 7.
Yeah, that's true.
Who cares?
It was 2-0. We were not.
Maybe I should take blame for the reverse jinx. Yeah.
You know what though? It's not like we can go on YouTube and see what you said. So we'll just have to guess.
Never.
We'll just have
Never
to
blame you for that, Arda. I think it's our fault for after Game 3 being like, who's going to win the Conn Smythe? That's
You
on,
just have
that's
to build
on
the
us
drama.
for picking the Conn Smythe winner after Game 3.
And we were wrong.
I'm pretty sure I said McDavid. I don't think anybody should go back and check because I'm pretty sure I said McDavid.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5 games against the Carolina Hurricanes, gentleman's sweep. I think
Yeah, that's pretty much the definition of a gentleman's sweep.
I think like the funniest part about this. So 2 years ago in 2023, when the Panthers beat the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final in 4 games, to advance to the Cup Final that they lost against Vegas, there was so much overtime in that series. I think there may have been less hockey overall in this 5-game series
correct.
than there was in the sweep
correct.
2 years
Or
ago.
overtime.
Correct. Because
4
that game went to
overtimes
4 overtimes. And then there was also overtime in Game 2. That was like 30 seconds, but there was overtime.
Yeah. Definitely less runtime for sure.
Yeah.
But like overall time on ice, yeah, for sure.
It's just such
It's
a
impressive,
wild
guys.
stat.
The thing is, like, I mean, look, like you guys watch the Panthers a lot more than I do. Like, I'm not watching all 82 games of the regular season, but I've watched all the playoff games. Like, I know that this probably gets talked a lot about the team, but like, first of all, they're one of the best net front teams ever. Like, they're just unbelievable. Like Matthew Tkachuk, like that first goal, he's calling for the puck. He knows exactly what he's going to do. It's almost like Ovechkin in his office. It's like I'm just gonna, as soon as I see the puck, as soon as it's coming towards me, it's gonna be automatic. It's gonna find the back of the net somehow. Like he's just so good at that. And like and the second goal was just a beautiful pass. And they just like the redirects and tips are just incredible. But even the work in front of the net, like even Barkov, like that, like what a play! Like he takes the puck, he outmuscles his defender, nifty move on the second defender, cross the crease pass, which touches the blue paint onto Sam Bennett's stick, and he's not even like right at the doorstep, right? Like he's like a little bit away. He's like probably closer to the face-off circle than he is the goal, and he makes a great finish. Like it's just magic, guys. It's just great plays.
See, I can already tell Arda is in off-season mode and dreaming about Sam Bennett as a Toronto Maple Leaf because it was Carter Verhaeghe that had that goal.
Sorry, Verhaeghe. Yeah, it was Verhaeghe. That's a good point. Yeah,
Jeez, Alex, you're just giving
Former Leaf, Arda, not the future Leaf.
Yeah, that's wow. Yes, that's right. That's right. I'm just so happy. Just so happy envisioning Sam Bennett in the lead. Yeah.
That was like that has to be one of the Barkoviest plays of all time.
Oh, so good.
Like you've got your Datsukian and now you've got your Barkovian. Like that was an insane play.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really hope that every single GM loses the tape of the Eastern Conference Finals for Dmitry Orlov, because man, did he lose a lot of money if that's all you watch from this series. Yeah. Even though you can't blame him for that goal. Like the way Barkov put a move on that play was like it's maybe Jacob Slavin and a couple other defensemen who are able to properly defend that. Everyone else is just kind of getting left in the dust.
He just lulled him to sleep, and there he went, right by him.
And Slavin had a good game 4, and like even still, like it's just the other thing is like the Panthers have a good way of like Aho had a great game, right? Scored the first 2 goals. He beat Bobrovsky clean, like he solved him in his shots. Like, but the Panthers are. It's not like the Panthers are making the team look bad. I think it's more they just know how to respond. Like they find some weakness or some way in, and they just exploit it. And they're just so good at that.
Well, they have also become absolute experts at just ruining the days of the opposing fans.
But to your point, Arda, like the Panthers are just smarter than their opponents. Like you could see it in this series. They were in Carolina's head from the opening puck drop. They were in Rod Brindamore's head. I mean, have you ever seen a coach complain that much right away from the beginning of a series? I mean, heck, even in his first period interview tonight, he was complaining about calls. When have you ever seen that?
Rare.
Like
Brindamore's vocal on the bench, but like not certainly like he knew back against the wall, like certainly, and even in the interview, like he was pretty clearly frustrated, right? But I don't know. I guess I'm not that surprised about that from Rod, but also not surprised from a coach in general. Like Paul Maurice has frustrations, just expresses them differently. You know what I mean? Like Paul Maurice is just very like he always has a one-liner, or he's eloquent, or he's just funny in the way that he says things. You know?
Yeah, I mean he's had that he had that one moment after the game against Toronto with Francois Saint Laurent, but you're right, like he knows how to diffuse the situation rather than like he draws attention to himself, but in a humorous way, not in a I'm clearly having a meltdown way, which it seemed like I said, from game one, opening shift, Rod was just openly, complaining, openly calling for penalties, complaining about calls against him. It's again like the Panthers were in his head, a cerebral assassin type, mind manipulator, knows everything about their opponent, like the artwork and everything, almost like Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder who compared the Panthers to Grand Admiral Thrawn earlier this season.
I wonder who feels a little vindicated in that case. Looking at my predictions.
That's right. It was Don Cherry.
That's right.
Totally out of left field, but you got to give Don Cherry credit for that.
I want to be clear for one thing, by the way. So Wish and I, Greg Wyshynski, do this Star Wars characters as NHL teams every year. We've been doing it for 4 years. Don't even ask me what the Panthers have been over the years. I forget. But I was the one. That was actually the second one I picked. The Leafs as the Death Star is like my constant. That's like the main one.
It's perfect.
And it came through again because it's like I even thought I was clever. I was like, oh, Alderaan can be Ottawan, and they destroy one planet, and then it's not a 1 in a million shot by the Panthers, that's for sure, but they definitely get dismantled after killing one planet or destroying one planet. It's like, good for you. But then the second one was, who's going to be Thrawn? Oh, the Panthers are a great fit here. So I just want to be clear. A, I was the one that thought of Thrawn as the Panthers, but B, they were definitely the second team to be selected among our whole segment.
Nice. Yeah, I would say the Florida Panthers of 10 years ago would probably just be a stormtrooper, just cannon fodder for the rest of the NHL.
They always miss. They just, they can't. Yeah, but not anymore.
Not anymore. We've upgraded Grand Admiral of the Empire Army. Love it.
Exactly. They've taken over the NHL, right? They study you inside and out. They know your weaknesses. They exploit them. But then Paul Maurice, I bet, I haven't watched, but I bet you he's at a podium right now, and he's giving Rod Brind'Amour his flowers, and he's complimenting Jacob Slavin's defensive play, and Sebastian Aho is great with the puck, like he. What was the funniest thing of the postseason? Can I just for a second,
please?
After the Panthers eliminated the Leafs, it was Marchand and Paul Maurice, and I think also Matthew Tkachuk that were like, man. They don't deserve this criticism that they're getting. They play in such a tough market. Imagine what it would be like in other think about the moment though, right? It's like they play one of the worst game sevens ever, and then you have the coach and other players on another team that are like, man, we sympathize with your situation, man. You do not deserve this. You don't deserve this level of scrutiny that you're getting. It's like, it just made me howl. As someone that grew up in Toronto and knows exactly what the fans of that market are going through, I'm like, the Leaf fans are fuming mad at this, boiling water, about to put the pasta in hot, this is bad.
Well, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn again, knowing their opponent and, just goading the Leafs into running it back one more time.
Right?
Because this time it's different.
Exactly.
Eventually it has to work, right?
No.
They're doing all the right things, right?
God. Guys, when Sam Bennett becomes a Leaf next year, I want to come back on the show.
Absolutely. We're going to have
time.
The Sam Bennett free.
You have an open invitation, Arda.
Yeah. All right, we're going to be back on the show with a Sam Bennett Leafs jersey.
And we'll be laughing at how you're paying him 11.5 AAV.
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna wear my
Sam Bennett's gonna wear number 10 for the Leafs, as in how many millions they're paying him annually.
I'll be wearing my Florida Panthers John Tavares jersey, if that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Along with your Mitch Marner as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Mitch Marner Leafs.
And I know for the people listening, we're talking way too much Leafs rather than Panthers versus Carolina. No, because I want to go this. I want to go further with this. What do you think would piss Toronto fans off more? Marner getting his name on the cup with the Panthers, or Tavares getting his name on the cup with the Panthers?
Alex, you know the answer.
Marner,
I know the answer
probably
too.
Marner. Like
Yeah,
Tavares,
for sure.
Marner's the guy. Like the Leaf through and through. The guy that Tavares. I think he would have pissed off Islanders fans more if Tavares won with Toronto. I think of the two, for sure it would be Marner. But yeah, I don't know. Like, look, the Panther. Like, man, here's my question to you. I feel like Florida clears Dallas. I think Florida can beat Dallas. I'm scared of Edmonton, though. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm like motivated McDavid and like that team wanting revenge from last year and coming that close. Like, okay, let me ask you this objectively. Let me ask you this question objectively: who is the favorite on paper this year?
I still think it's the Panthers on paper.
I think so too.
On paper, you think the Panthers are the favorites on objectively?
I think the Panthers are deeper. If this is the Skinner we've seen the last 3 games is the Skinner the Oilers get for the Stanley Cup Final, I think that could sway things. But I don't think the Oilers have as much depth as they did last year. They definitely had a better forward group. The moves they made haven't worked as well as they thought. But you still have McDavid and Draisaitl. Zach Hyman being
Alex,
out.
You say that, but let's not forget Barkov and McDavid
Reinhart
played to a draw last year.
Oh, okay.
And Sam Bennett completely neutralized Leon Draisaitl.
Oh, I'm not saying that the Panthers aren't the better matchup. I'm just comparing Oilers this year from Oilers last year.
Yeah, the Oilers last year I do think were a better team.
Arda, let me ask you this. You're watching these Star Oilers games on ESPN. It's on your network. You're seeing the games. You're watching the games happen. You're watching the Oilers put 4 guys in the slot, do nothing but let Dallas just take pot shots and barely even contain them from getting some decent rebound chances. And then all of a sudden they go down the ice and they score. What's going on? They're not playing well, right? They don't look good, but they're winning. It's driving me crazy.
They're very much like a team that counters very, very well. McDavid and Draisaitl, especially the last couple of games, have had some space to maneuver. Leon scoring from his office. McDavid is making silly plays. Yes. So if the Panthers can, if it's a wash with McDavid and Barkov, Barkov's a great foil to McDavid, right? Barkov is an excellent matchup for the Panthers against McDavid. Stuart Skinner has benefited from a lack of second and third chances. The Oilers have at least been able to either corral those or he hasn't been giving up those rebounds in games that they've won. And the Oilers have... The thing with the Oilers is, unless you contain them like the Panthers did in many games against them in the final, you have to score 5 goals. Because the Oilers... As soon as they just eat, they eat once they know that there's food on the table.
It's very much the snowball rolling down the hill. Game 3, I will give you that. The Stars just kind of collapsed, and the Oilers immediately sniffed blood and just jumped all over them, and then the game was over. But Game 4, I just watched it. I mean, they won 2-1. They had maybe 2 decent scoring chances in the first 2 periods. And they scored on both. That happened
last year too, right? They won 2 or 3 games with 15 or less shots, right? There were some games where they were either 30 plus shots, McDavid scoring 2 goals and 2 assists and blah blah. It was either the 8-0 game or whatever, or they had 12 shots on goal and they won 2-1 or 3-1 on an empty netter or something like that.
I will also give them this. Like, this is what Pete DeBoer does. Ever since he left New Jersey, this is what happened when he got to the conference finals with the Golden Knights. This is what happened when he got to the conference finals with the Sharks. Except for, I think he won one, but he also lost one against St. Louis. And this is what happened last year when he got to the conference finals with the Stars. Like, his offensive strategy is just easy to contain at this second or third round stage of the playoffs, and has been for several years. This is like the downfall of Pete DeBoer.
Well, listen, Dallas's best bet to get to a Game 7 because he never loses there.
Well, I was gonna, and that's the kind of the thing is one fun storyline. If it is Dallas versus Florida, it has to go 7 because you have, two crazy undefeated streaks and coaches for Game 7, and finally one of them is gonna lose. Like,
what makes me laugh about that is like, and listen, I'm not trying to diminish the impressiveness of the Game 7 undefeated record, but like, if you look at his Game 6 record, it's like 5-16 or something like that. So like, the guy has to get to Game 7 first,
By losing Game 6. Why do you think he always loses it?
Exactly. It's like he loses Game 6. It's just funny that we're like, it's like every stat can be like melded to whatever your point is.
Have you ever seen how many goals Justin Williams have in Game 6s? No, you haven't.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. We talk about the Game 7.
They don't talk about it.
Yeah,
they don't want you to know how many goals Justin Williams has in Game 6.
He's not Mr. Game 6. He's Mr. Game 7, all right?
Right. That would be an absolutely absurd moniker, Mr. Game 6.
On the TNT broadcast, they were saying to Brian Boucher, like, you actually went off in Game 4. You're like Mr. Game 4. And he had no idea how to take this information. It was crazy.
It's the worst nickname of all time.
Mr. Game 4. But hey, in a positive, it's a game you must play, regardless if you're whatever it is in the series. So,
yeah, being clutch in Game 4 means like you're going to get to a Game 4 every series. That means you're getting a lot more opportunities and converting a lot more than you are in Game 7. So
it's worth just as much as Game 7.
Yeah, you're clutching at least one game in the series at minimum. Good to know.
Fortunately, the Panthers didn't need 7 against Carolina here. I think that would have been a little tougher.
Because it was always Cats in 5, you cowards. And I'm talking to Jacob and TJ, though I don't. What did you have, Arda, for the prediction?
Cats in 6 or 7. I added later. But
okay, I also had 6. I think.
Yeah,
I definitely did not say 7.
I did say Cats in 5, but that was the bet. I was doing the bet.
Yeah, it is always Cats in 5. Cup final, Dallas, Edmonton, Cats in 5.
Cats in 5. Okay, got it. Cats in 5.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this one, we kind of expected it was going to be over in 4 after the way the first 3 games went. But even after Carolina won Game 4, you just didn't get the same feeling. I'm asking, you guys didn't get the same feeling as you got when Edmonton won Game 4, right? Like, that series, a few of the games easily could have gone either way, and this series did not feel like that.
I mean, if I remember right, Edmonton blew out the Panthers in Game 4, right? It was
that was like the 8-1 game, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely it was something like that. I was honestly, if we're going back to this series, like Game 4 didn't concern me at all. It was like Carolina played a perfect game and generated 1 goal, and it came off a bad turnover by Dmitry Kulikov. This game, the first period of this game, made me a lot more nervous for the rest of the series than all of Game 4, because it was just like you had Forsling making mistakes. Mikkola made a mistake. I mean, part of that was just the ice was really bad tonight, and the puck bounced off Mikkola's stick, and a little bit on Forsling on the first one, definitely on the third one. But like, you were just making so many uncharacteristic mistakes and generating nothing on offense. I was legit saying, "Oh shit, this is coming back to Florida for Game 6." And then, it's a series. Someone was saying it this week. It's like when you're down 3-0 and you lose Game 4, or you lose Game 4, it's like you're not worried. But then when you lose Game 5 and all of a sudden you got 1 home game left, you start to pucker a little bit. But Cats in 5 came through, and like Ardo, you were DMing me earlier. It was like, wow, what a 30 seconds for the Panthers, and
unbelievable.
But it was out of nowhere.
That's my point. It was like honestly, like the Dallas Stars, up until like what you were saying, TJ, about like their collapsing in front of the net and then countering and scoring. Like the Dallas Stars for the first 3 games had one good period, right? They had one good third period, and by the way, that third period was 3 power play goals. 2 of those penalties were high sticks, so they're guaranteed calls no matter what stage of NHL play we're in, preseason to playoffs. You're calling a high sticking penalty. You're calling a puck over glass. You're calling a too many men, right?
And you're calling a broken stick slash.
Yeah, like these are the automatics, right? So there was at minimum 2 automatic penalties, 3 power play goals in the third period. Like improbable period to have, but that's how Dallas won game 1, and the rest of the periods were either won or tied. If you were looking at if you were scoring them like a prize fight, it was a 10-9 round for Edmonton pretty much every period, right? So, to me, Carolina had their best period, like you said, in this game in the first period. They were fruitful, but I don't know. I guess I wasn't as nervous as you guys at all. I thought that the Panthers were going to come back in this game, and that 30-second span again in net front. Matthew Tkachuk gets the tip in front, starts the play for 30 seconds later. The beautiful, nice pass. It's just like I said, it just feels automatic with the Panthers often.
I wasn't particularly worried, honestly, going into the second period. And TJ, you can corroborate this. That I'm not much of a gambler. I was real close to going Panthers money line after the first period.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't is because I just don't like gambling. But I was real close to making that bet.
Jake, when it's the Panthers, it's investing.
It's a good point, honestly. Look, if you bet the Panthers to win every game for an entire season, you're probably going to end up making money on the season.
Well, start in the playoffs. My advice to everybody is start in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely with all those free bets the Hard Rock's been giving out, that I threw a whole bunch of them on Panthers to win the East and Panthers to win the Cup. A whole bunch of them just paid off entertainment purposes only.
I will say, I did set up a 3-leg parlay that I ended up not betting on.
This episode brought to you by Hard Rock Bet.
Which was Panthers -1.5 with a Verhaeghe goal and a Marchand point. 3-leg parlay before the game. Didn't do it because I never win my parlays. But when I don't make parlays, they happen.
You're like the guy with the pickaxe meme.
I just thought of something. You just mentioned Marchand. I have a question for you. If and when the Panthers win the Cup this year, what order does Marchand receive the Cup?
Ooh.
No, stop. Trick question. This is the conversation we had during the Stanley Cup Final last year. It wasn't Conn Smythe. It was Cup order. Nice try, Arda. We're not falling for it this year.
Again?
Jake, who won the Stanley Cup last year? Who won the Stanley Cup last year?
The conversation was that the Panthers were up either 2-0 or 3-0, and we started talking about the Cup order, and that's when Edmonton mounted their comeback. We're not doing this again. But to answer your question, second.
Yeah. Second.
No.
At this point, I think second. Yeah. All the Panthers vets got it last year. I think it goes to Brad Marchand.
Gotta be Vitek Vanacek.
No, it goes
I'm
to
kidding. Of course
it goes to a vet without a cut, aka Nate Schmidt.
Yeah.
Nate Schmidt second. So Barkov, Nate Schmidt, Marchand then is third.
I think it goes Seth Jones was
Jones
brought in first. I'm with you. You're the one who answered the question. I wasn't going to answer.
I didn't mean to start an entire discussion.
Look, we did it last year. They won the Cup. We have to do it again.
Wait,
We're doing it even earlier. The final hasn't even started.
Marchand has a cup.
Yes.
Marchand has a cup. Seth Jones does not.
Mm-hmm.
How many years in is Seth Jones? How many years has he been?
The same amount as Barkov.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
So then, no, you got to give it to Seth Jones second then, because he's enough of a vet that doesn't have a cup. You got to give it to him next. Yeah.
He's also around for a long haul.
It'd be a lot different if it was their first Stanley Cup. This is the consecutive.
Right.
So it's almost like all the Verhaeghes and the Reinhardts and the Bobrovskys, they're like, yeah, no, I can wait.
Look,
we did this last
Verhaeghe's already got 2. Those
guys are just looking at Edmonton
Verhaeghe's at the end. He's already got 2.
Those guys are just looking at Edmonton like, this is just so you don't get to touch it. That's the only reason we're doing this.
So there you go. We have our top three. We have our three order. We have the Barkov, Seth Jones, Marchand, and then free for all.
Nate Schmidt, 33 years old,
Nate
guy
Schmidt.
without a cut.
Yeah, Nate Schmidt. So maybe it's Barkov, Seth Jones, Nate Schmidt, Marchand.
Okay, fine.
Possibly. And then
Okay, so where does Jesper Boquist come into this order? Can we please get into that?
Jesper Boquist touches the cup like 15th.
Yeah, he's too young.
No,
All right,
I do have a
Johnny
real
Kajemi?
question though. Because this is we've done this after the first 2 rounds, so 3 rounds in, 1 round to go. Should the Panthers finish the job, who do we feel now after round 3 is the Panthers' Conn Smythe clubhouse leader?
Barkov and Bob, 1A and 1B.
Yeah. Barkov probably 1A for me.
Especially with that play to end the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, I think Barkov earned a lot of points tonight.
Man.
Chucky has had some big moments, but because of the injury, the counting stats aren't there. Sam Bennett has the goals, but also I think the general dislike for Sam Bennett around the hockey media is going to cost him votes.
Bennett currently leading the playoffs in goals with 10.
Yeah. Carter Verhaeghe doesn't have the points. Sam Reinhart doesn't have the points. It's never going to go to a guy like Forsling. So, yeah, it's Barkov and Bob.
Guys.
Marchand.
Ooh, Marchand, yeah. There it is.
Legit, he's been the one that's been the most impressive to me. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to him, but I think he's been their best player.
This is Eetu Luostarinen erasure.
Well, he was erased from the game, so
that's true.
Yeah.
He also no longer leads the playoffs in 5-on-5 points. That dream is he's tied for second.
That's a bummer. What's really going to happen is we're going to get another 7-game series, and the Conn Smythe will be Leon Draisaitl. Congratulations, Stan.
Only because they can't give it to McDavid in a losing effort again, so they'll give it to a different Oiler in a losing effort.
Congrats to Leon, and we'll all debate whether he'll come out to take the trophy, and the answer will be no.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about it, and Arda, I'm sure you've seen it, but it was called Face Off that Amazon Prime did, right?
Really good, really good.
Really good, but just the sound of the Oilers locker room as you can hear Gary Bettman's voice in the background announcing Connor McDavid.
Yeah. That was brutal.
It was brutal, but also those tears were delicious.
But also like that scene with Steve Mayer, who runs all of their content and productions. He's like, third or second in command at the NHL and does an awesome job with all the content. You see him in that scene, right, where they're announcing it, and he's in the hallway with McDavid, and he's like, "Hey, you just won Conn Smythe," and McDavid wasn't even paying attention. Right? He was just like, what? What happened? And he's like, you just won Conn Smythe. Are you going to go out? Like, do you want to go out and get it? And he's like, no, I don't.
Totally understandable.
Absolutely. No. Who would in that? Like, that's no way. No way. What is he like? What? Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable.
I don't remember. Did Jazz Giguère win the Conn Smythe?
He won the Conn Smythe.
He's the last one to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well,
I think McDavid is the second. He's the second player to do it, and then there were a few other goalies. I think like Glenn Hall did it once, and Ron Hextall did it in the '80s.
Yeah, and Giguère did go out to get it because wasn't he at home when that happened? Then it was as much was it wasn't.
No, that was a game. Every home team won every game.
Oh. Jeez, you guys' memory's better than mine. I mean, I remember Giguère getting it, and I was just like, for that effort, even with your oversized hip pads, like, go get your flowers.
I gotta say, a goalie winning the Conn Smythe in a losing effort in the '80s. Already, you mentioned Glenn Hall. Like that's nuts.
Well, Hextall too, goalies, the Oilers.
Hextall, not Hall. That's insane to me because like goalies barely played in the '80s.
I know, right? And to do that against Gretzky, Messier,
right?
Like the Jari Kurri, Tikkanen, like that '80s.
Although at that point, I wonder if the Conn Smythe conversation was, "Oh, you only let in 4 goals a game, so you deserve the Conn Smythe."
Good for you. Good for you. It probably was, right? Makes a lot of sense.
Against those Oilers teams, it makes sense.
I'm actually kind of curious. I'm going to look this up. You guys talk about something else for a second.
Jacob, you've forgotten something.
Have I? As I'm
Probably pulling up what I said you forgot.
Oh God! I hadn't even prepared that. Wow, That's embarrassing for me. Speaking of traditions that we have after every
Playoff series.
series, yeah.
And
Before you do that, can we have a quick conversation affirming like what I had been saying all regular season? It didn't matter. The regular season didn't matter.
Yeah.
But Toronto won the division, and therefore they're the better team. So many people on social media said, not you, Arda.
Watch them lose in 7 now, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, but the home ice advantage was so big."
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question, Arda. Does the fact that Toronto took the Panthers to 7 and Carolina got gentlemen swept, where 3 of the 4 losses weren't even close, does that make you feel better about Toronto's season, or it doesn't matter?
It would make me feel better about Toronto's season if we weren't in this era of futility in the playoffs for the last 8 or 9 years. Like, quite honestly, it's almost fitting that Game 7 went the way it did, because that really, truly, to a Leafs fan, feels like the end of the Core 4 era. Like that chapter of Leafs history, it feels like that was the very last game. Fitting that Brad Marchand was on the team to write the final word of that chapter, quite honestly, because he was so pivotal throughout the entire the chapter being written for the Austin Matthews era, essentially, you know, when they've been making the playoffs every year. So, but I mean, the Leafs didn't have a bad series. They played the Panthers well. Like in Game 3, they were like a post away from possibly, winning that game too, right? Like they were pretty, like they had a competitive series. They just don't. You know what the big thing? The Panthers just have that. We know how to win. Our backs are against the wall, or like when it matters the most, they rise up. Like that intangible. Like no one would be picking the Leafs to win a Game 7, especially the way the Panthers play and their recent history of success in those situations. Like that's the way it is. Like the Leafs lack that grit or that wherewithal or that, find whatever it takes, dig deep to win.
I mean, Brad Marchand did kind of say it best. Game 7 in the second round was not a big game for this Florida Panthers team. Like it's old hat. It's like, exactly. Yeah, if we lose whatever because one, we've been played more hockey than anyone in the last 2.5 years. 2, like we'll be back next year because everyone meaningful outside of Sam Bennett has got a contract. Well, Sam Bennett and Ekblad have contracts for next season. And 3, we've done this 1,000 times, so there's no pressure on us, and there was all the pressure on Toronto.
This is a run with Thomas Nosek, though. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
All right, I have the roll call up. I will say nobody predicted Panthers in 5.
Because they're all cowards.
Anybody pick Panthers in 4?
Before we start this, I will say Arda Öcal, Panthers in 6. Arda,
Right.
Thank you for having our back.
Ching.
Arda, we do have our little tradition here where we roll call the ESPN predictions to call out everyone who got it wrong.
Okay. Everyone got it wrong. Okay, got it.
Well, there's not as many anymore.
More specifically, the people who bet against the Panthers.
Okay, all right.
Though this time we do have 19 of 24 picked the Panthers.
Okay.
Last series you had, I think, 21 of 24 picking the Panthers. Before that, I think only 8. I think only 8 people of the 24 had the Panthers over Tampa. So it was a lot more fun in round 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
Who are we calling out? Who are we calling out on the ESPN list here?
We're about to find out.
Alex, are you ready for the Eastern Conference Final roll call?
Always.
And Arda, you'll have to correct me on pronunciation of any of these people.
Okay.
Sachin Shandon, Hurricanes in 5.
Wrong.
Sachin Shandon, thank you. I definitely said it that way, the way that I said it after the second series also. Megan Chayka, Hurricanes in 7.
Wrong.
Tim Cavanaugh, Hurricanes in 6.
Wrong. Doesn't he always pick against the Panthers?
2 times in a
I
row
think
now.
a lot of people do. Vince Massey, Hurricanes in 7.
Wrong.
Mike Monaco, Hurricanes in 7.
Wrong.
Not Mike. Oh no.
No.
Oh, Mike.
That's
our
why you're not
guy.
calling
Everyone
any more
else took
games.
the
It's
Panthers.
totally not because
All right.
ESPN doesn't have any more rights. It's because you picked against the Panthers. That's why you're not calling
Look,
any more
even
games.
Messier said Panthers in 6 this time around, and he's been picking against the Panthers a lot.
Yeah. I always have fun again with Messier's one because he's always against the Panthers. I mean, especially last year, it was like the Rangers, and he was rooting for the Rangers hard, and then it was the Oilers, and he was
I
I
rooting for the
wonder
Oilers.
why that is, Alex.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean,
come
I
on.
get it, but like
Look, it was really fun when TJ and I were at Elbow Room last summer and ran into Messier
Yes,
and
that
Subban.
happened. Yeah.
To give Messier
And
just
Steve Levy.
a little bit of razz for keeping for
I'm sure he
continually.
loved
Yeah,
that.
this was at like 2:30 in the morning, and
It
they
was
just came
so
by.
late.
That's terrific. I love that.
It was
That's
a great
short
night.
list. That's a short list. Vin is one of our awesome stat gurus. He's the best. He's one of the guys that essentially feeds us a lot of nuggets of information during the game. He works for the Stats and Information Group. So he's like essentially one of the smartest people at ESPN, without a doubt. Similarly, Megan Chayka. Like Megan Chayka's founded Stathletes.
yeah, she's fantastic.
She does she works with ESPN officially in like a data capacity. So like we get packets of information before every game, and we get this like robust. Like when I'm doing a game, like I have more than enough information. I only get to like 3% of the information that I actually have, you know? So, and Megan's a huge part of that.
Yeah, you're
Monaco,
always the one I see tweeting out those stats at ESPN Stats.
yeah, and
Info.
a lot of those will come from the Stats and Info team, and many of those would be Vin. So, yeah.
Shout out to
that's
Vin.
awesome. Shout out to
Although
Vin.
you're wrong.
Next time, pick the Panthers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Mr.
Well,
Numbers
well,
guy
you're
picked-
wrong for the purposes of this. Yeah.
Pick the team with the best numbers in the NHL.
Yeah.
Come on.
To be fair, he did. Carolina is like the one team that had better underlying numbers than the Panthers this season.
Did
Shout
they?
out
Okay.
Corsicans. I mean, they always have the best numbers.
That's
But
true.
even
The
even like
Corsicans.
high danger and expected goals,
funny.
Carolina did out.
They were out they have like 35 shots a game, like in
Yeah,
the
pretty
first
much.
couple of rounds. Like it was pretty ridiculous. They were shooting from absolutely everywhere. Like the lowest of low danger shots, they were just putting it towards the net.
Do you think there's a ceiling on what they do? Like, do you think that they were always going to lose in the third round, whether it was against the Lightning or against the Leafs? Obviously, the Panthers.
Maybe, I don't know.
Look, I mean,
There's not the I always thought the Panthers would beat the Canes. They might have had a chance against the Leafs. They probably would have had a good chance against the Lightning. Although if the Lightning did beat the Panthers, they probably would have like gotten back into that groove, you know? Like I really feel like the snowball would have gotten a lot bigger for the Panthers if they had made it.
Lightning.
That was a massive win for the Panthers in that first round, you know? Like that really set things right the ship.
I still believe it that the two best teams in the East played in round one, and it was the Panthers
Yeah.
and the Lightning.
yep.
It's funny, like it's funny to say that because I agree, and it's like in the West, people were saying the exact same thing, and I was saying this too about Colorado and Dallas, but now the way things are, it's like, well, maybe not, maybe not so
It
much.
was actually Edmonton, LA. Those were the two best teams.
yes, LA naturally.
I mean, they were right there, about to go up 3-0, just like the Leafs, and then
Yeah,
somehow,
History changing, terrible
review.
review challenge. Just history changing.
And they also gave up that goal in the last minute of Game 4 when they were about to go up 3-1.
Yep, with a horrible turnover by
Quinton
Quinton
Byfield.
Byfield. All right, we need to start to wrap up because we don't want to abuse Arda's time, as grateful as we are for it.
All good.
Let me ask you this, Arda, to kind of close the book on Carolina's season. What do they need to do this offseason to close that gap with the Panthers? They have a ton of cap space, and I don't think anyone meaningful is coming off the books. I mean, I think it's Orlov and Brent Burns. What does Carolina need to do?
Another goal scorer. I think goal scoring is a big one for them. We saw some Sebastian Aho's coming into his own. Seth Jarvis is playing well. Like I think they could do well with another like star player kind of thing, like a top 6 forward that's contributing goals. If they're losing Orlov and Burns, clearly they will need another defenseman. Another Slavin type would be excellent. And then also, do they? I mean, they had challenges with Kochetkov, right? Like, I guess I wonder what they will like. I'm sure. I'm guessing they'll run it back in net. Is Freddie Anderson and Pyotr Kochetkov the guys that you entrust to bring you to the Stanley Cup Final? Maybe so with the pieces I'm talking about in front of them, but to me, the first thing is the goal scoring. I think that they could make do with. Like, it didn't work out, obviously, didn't work out with Mikko Rantanen. They need a goal scorer that wants to be there and stays there and gels well with that system and whatever else, you know?
Maybe this is the Sam Bennett team.
No, it's the Mitch Marner team, because what better way to twist the knife by Mitch Marner is to go to the team he refused to trade for and leave Toronto without a Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah. Absolutely. And is this the same week that John Tavares leaves the Leafs and goes right back to Long Island? Is like for free? So it's almost like a 7-year rental.
So.
Does this
I
happen
think they gotta
within
do
a
the
day
rebuild.
or?
I mean, as funny as that would be, I think it's pretty obvious that Mr. Pajamas is going to stick around in Toronto unless they spend all their cap elsewhere, and he has no choice.
Unless they tell him to get lost, basically.
I mean, if
they're not doing that unless he asks for like way too much.
He's not
money.
gonna.
They're not.
Right, he's not going
wants
to
be there. He wants to be there.
Yeah.
I
will
feel
say,
bad, guys.
I still think it's Marner to Chicago.
I want to apologize to all of your listeners because I really made this into Leafs Pourri, so I'm
no,
sorry.
we did it ourselves too.
Like, I didn't mean to come on. I was going to celebrate the Panthers making the cup again, and here we are basically dissecting the Leafs season and, you know, the end of their lives.
Well, that series is more interesting than the Carolina series.
I guarantee you our listeners are going to enjoy this way more because nothing is more fun than drinking the tears of Leafs fans. Not that you're providing tears, but like, you know,
The ones who aren't
remember-
good sports about it.
Let's just remember bad moments in Maple Leafs history.
Yes,
Yeah.
of which there are plenty, of which there are many.
Oh, yes. It was
They-
4-1. Brad Marchand was playing in that game.
Exactly. It was
Name a
sort of-
more iconic duo than a Brad Marchand team eliminating the Leafs
That's
in
what
Game
I'm
7.
saying. It's hilarious that he was like one of the two guys. Him and Seth Jones. That's the other thing. Like, let's give credit to, why is his name escaping me
Bill
now?
Zito?
Bill Zito. Like, Seth Jones and Brad Marchand were the two top guys in that Game 7. They've been great for the team. Like, that's hell of a pickups, man.
Yeah, but Jim Nill's going to win GM of the Year for the 3rd year in a row.
It's Zito's time. Like, again, I don't think Bill Zito actually cares about GM of the Year, especially now that his name is on the cup. But
Yeah, that's
he deserves it.
Yeah, there's no direct quote, but enough Florida writers have said that Bill Zito doesn't care, that, you know, he's said off the record he doesn't give a shit.
It's very easy to say you don't care about GM of the Year when you already have a cup to your name.
Yeah.
That is your GM of the year. Like,
I
clearly
I have
the team you
always said
built-
that.
Yeah, the team you built won a Stanley Cup, so therefore you are the GM of the year.
Being a GM is not a 1-year process. And the reward for doing a good job as GM is building a cup team.
The NHL must be the only league that has an award like that. I've never heard one for the NFL, MLB, NBA.
I think the NBA has it.
I think they call it
I
executive
will
of the
say,
year.
I will say 2K for sure has it, which leads me to believe that the NBA has one.
Well, if 2K says it, it must be true.
Shout out Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and NBA MVP Atsushi Murasaki-bara.
Also known as MP.
Correct. Actually, A-Train is his commentary name.
Okay, there we go.
So the last thing that I want to leave everybody with here, a stat that TJ reminded me of about halfway into the game. The Florida Panthers have never been eliminated in the conference final.
Is that bad?
Nice.
I would say no. I would say it's good.
I would agree.
Series, they are 4-0 in conference finals.
Okay. All right. Fine. I will take your stat, And then I will ask, in franchise history, how often have they made it to the conference final?
4 times.
And they've won all 4 of them.
I can count on one hand.
Hold on. Arda, I will take that stat and raise you. How many times in the Florida Panthers' history of existing has Toronto made the Stanley Cup Final?
How many rounds? I think the Florida Panthers have won more. Well, no, not since in the last 20 years they have.
Yeah, definitely.
In the last 20 years, the Panthers have won more conference finals than Toronto has won series. But yes, in the entire existence, yeah. Oh boy.
Art, I can't tell you how much we appreciate that you put up with our nonsense and are taking it like a good sport because, obviously, like we're having fun a little bit at your expense, but it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah, I love it.
We are twins here with our shirts tonight, so
let's go with the AT-ATs. Come on now.
yeah, just an absolutely fantastic shirt, and this is the one that Adeline sent you, right?
Yeah. Adeline's the best.
She really is.
Adeline's a Stanley Cup champion, by the way. Adeline is a Stanley Cup champion.
Yes.
And I couldn't be happier about it because she's one of my favorite people in the league.
Yeah, and the whole PR department, especially her, just won an award, and I'm blanking on the name of that.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the award, but I did also see that they
Yeah,
won it. So
and
shout
it was
out
like
to the communications team.
And it was like a professional sports-wide one. It wasn't even just NHL.
And the other stat that I wanted to shout out, less stat, more just a thing. Matthew Tkachuk, 3 years as a Panther, 3 trips to the Stanley Cup Final.
Best trade ever. And we're finally giving up that first-round pick for him in a couple of weeks.
And now we have another one to lose for Brad Marchand. It's impossible for us to not meet that condition.
And Seth Jones.
FTP.
Yes.
All right. So before we wrap this, Arda, why don't you plug where the people can find you, and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, thanks. Just follow me on Twitter or X at Arda, and I just post all my stuff there. Always good chatting with you guys. This is always fun.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, Arda. Thank you so much for your time.
If you haven't watched it, watch the clip where they go through every NHL team and assign them a Star Wars character because it really is a fantastic watch, and you're just laughing the whole time.
One of my funniest or one of my most fun segments that we do all year, without a doubt. Thanks, boys.
So everybody tune in 1 hour before puck drop for every game for The Point and rate us 5 stars there. Rate us 5 stars on The Point on ESPN.
I was going to say Tatooine Traders or Toshi Station, but
Yeah.
I was going to say your favorite Carolina barbecue place. I think you guys
I'm glad everybody got their joke in. That's what really matters.
The point is, rate us 5 stars wherever you see fit.
So thank you again to Arda Öcal, and we will talk to you the next time the Panthers play a game, or maybe for Cup Final preview.
We will certainly do a Cup Final preview once the Western Conference is decided. But until then, good night, everybody. Go Panthers.
Panthers.